instrumental. And in that migration, in addition to the value of work, she of course needed help of patience. Just like the movement now to create driver's licenses for people who are undocumented, regardless of status, is exactly what she was doing. Así decía mi mamá, viajando sola de calle. Allá dejó suelto el buey y las brisas de la palma. Y en Jersey halló la calma de trabajar en factoría. De familia no carecía, porque a fijarse bien, llegan en un santiamén para darle alegría. That's what my mother said when she left Calle alone. She left the oxen behind. And she came and she left that and the beautiful palm trees of the island of Puerto Rico. And in Jersey, she found solace by working in the factory. And knowing that she would miss her family, they arrived as fast as you could say amen to fill her life with joy. You see, her struggle is a working person's struggle. Her struggle is a working person's struggle. At first, she worked with her hands in the fields of Puerto Rico. Then she became a domestic for an attorney in San Juan. And then she came to New York first. They all came to New York first back then. And then ended up in Jersey immediately thereafter, where I was born. And therefore here, she worked with families. And the value of work and the value of hard work has always been part of the feature of Latino life. Because our workforce participation rates are higher than any group in this country. Our workforce participation rates are higher than any group in this country. We work incredibly hard jobs, multiple jobs, all the time. The thing is that our jobs don't oftentimes bring us to success. They're dead-end jobs, exploitative jobs. That's why unionization is so key. And that's why the unionization movement, especially the labor movement, as reflected in LAM and their supporters, is so important to raise the basic living wages of people in our factories. And that's why, yes, the $15 minimum wage is now going to be signed by Governor Murphy on Monday. It's important, but the governor's not here, and I wish he was here. Those of you who work with him, tell him it ain't enough. $15 should be the minimum wage for all our farm workers in New Jersey, too. I repeat, $15 should be the minimum wage for all our farm workers. See, they're excluded from that benefit, just like they were excluded throughout the entire country. If the lesson of Cesar Chavez was to teach us anything today, is that we cannot forget that the people who toil with their hands to bring fruits and vegetables to our table and livestock to our tables have to be treated with respect too. Juanita quería el mar, aguas tibias, sol caliente. En aquel marino ambiente se acercaba sin nadar. Por el norte ni hablar, porque aquí hacía un frío. Viviendo cerca al río, vino aquí a trabajar y la renta a pagar sin meterse en un lío. I grew up in about 7 to 8 different apartments in Jersey City, in downtown Jersey City when I was growing up. Affordable housing was a staple of downtown Jersey City because when I lived in downtown Jersey City, nobody wanted to live in downtown Jersey City. African Americans and Puerto Ricans were the only ones who were living in downtown Jersey City. We grew up together like this. I went to Ferris High School where everybody was either black or Puerto Rican. And that's where we grew up. I cut my teeth learning about equality and justice by following what happened to African American populations in the United States and especially in Jersey City. I witnessed the riots in Jersey City that were done after the assassination of Martin Luther King. And I witnessed the gentrification, eventually, and the displacement that occurred as well. See, the whole notion of leaving, of loving the island and its waters and its warm waters, then of course recognizes the value that we place to people in the Caribbean. The value that we have to continue to hold for people in Puerto Rico struggling after Hurricane Maria. But it's always about housing, especially affordable housing. And that's what the linchpin for the kind of struggles that we have in communities. Go back to the poem. Y en downtown Jersey City había gente trabajadora, junto a Toño y a Flora, y otros con frenesí. En una iglesia que hubo aquí, celebraron misa hispana. Los domingos de mañana iban para San Bonifacio y así crear su espacio en una iglesia alemana. You see, in downtown Jersey City, where working people were there, along with people like Toño and Flora and others, In the church, they celebrated Spanish Mass. And on Sunday mornings, they would go to that church, St. Boniface, so they could actually make a space in what used to be a German parish. See, one of the connections that we have to constantly remind people, especially white ethnic America, is that Germans and the Irish were treated with the same disdain and hate that Latinos and African Americans were treated together. The hate that comes from their European immigrants, but from a part of Europe that nobody wanted to deal with. The same hate that led to immigration laws in the 1920s to give a preference to Europeans from Northern Europe and less visas to Southern Europe. And as we toil towards immigrants' rights and immigration reform, we have to remind them of that history to see how they can actually work. Puerto Ricans took over a German church. It was the only way that the church was going to survive when I was growing up. And my mother was part of that part, so that's probably the people who were doing it. For them, community was everything that I'm talking about. That community then extended to the voting booth. It extended to school boards. It extended to meetings in the community. It extends to what we talked about today, and so importantly, to make sure that we are counted. It's our ability to resist and try to fight back and make sure that a census does not impede our full count. That citizenship question in the U.S. Census that is being touted by this administration has only one real target: Latino political strength. That's why it was devised in this White House. It is meant to reduce the number of Latinos who participate in census and thereby have less money for their schools, less money for their roads and bridges, less money for their health, less money for the environment, and definitely less bodies counted for political redistricting purpose. That's the only goal of that censorship question. And that's why it's racist to begin with. That's why it comes from a white supremacist. That's why it's done. And that's why we have to fight it at every turn. Two more stanzas. De los buenos quedan poco, en la quinta te alcenia, como rosas y gardenias, en lo frágil yo me enfoco. Y a los yopis les revoco su licencia de arrogancia, que llevan de su infancia, dejen esa pendejada. Esto es comunidad, sin motivos de ganancia. You know, Jersey City that I grew up is not the Jersey City of today, right? We have changed completely. Completely. Same thing with Newark, right? If you remember Hoboken in the 1960s, 70s, same thing with Hoboken. Hoboken was like 50% Puerto Rican in the 1960s. Completely different today. Those forces are done with large economic forces behind them. Small business generation is critically important for our survival as a community. But the ability to stop the gentrification of our gente and to have them displaced out of the communities that we grew up with and grew up in is super important for our survival. We have to keep that uppermost in mind. Agua honda, agua pura. El río es naturaleza, que nos sirve de limpieza para romper las cerraduras, que impiden la mixtura de la gente buena y sana. En palabras de veterana, ese río tiene nombre. Waterfront ni te asombre en la historia de Atistán. The river that I'm referring to is the Hudson River. When I was growing up in Jersey City, it was just saying, I'm going to meet you at the river. Let's go down to the river. Let's have some beers at the river. Now it's called the waterfront. For obvious reasons, right? So this verse basically says, don't even talk about waterfront in front of my mother. Because that river is also nature. And just like nature, it can heal. Just like nature, it gives us hope. But our nature and our natural lives, our natural environment are being attacked every day. You know, right here in this conference, I heard about how Newark has an incinerator. And only Newark incinerates garbage from Manhattan. Yes. The Newark incinerator incinerates and burns garbage from Manhattan. In a contract and a placement of that incinerator created by the Port Authority. And the only other incinerator in the state that should have been one in every county that was promised exists in Camden. Go figure that out too. The whole notion about